What up, Henry Lefty? It's cool. Yeah, I can't see you.
Oh, snap.
All
Don't be
right.
laughing at me. Yay! We did it. Oh, snap. Okay, you got, oh, I like that shirt.
You from the West Side, Ice Cube.
I know what's up with the West Side. What's up? The hubby, I'm down by law now, huh?
Yes,
Literally.
yes, I believe it. Thank you, Honey Rockwell. I've been wanting to do this for a while because our history goes way back to when I told you I wrote that letter to Crazy Legs, and you told me years later that you wrote back. You were the one that was responding back to me.
No way.
Yeah, because I had wrote a letter to Crazy Legs. I asked him to watch my VHS tape. And I guess she said that he didn't have no time to do it, so you wrote the letter back to me.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I remember writing letters to different, like he was giving me these letters and I was like, okay, I'll write back. No way.
Yeah, you wrote back. You said something like, "Dear Mikey-Ice, we like your video. You should work on such and such." And then and then it was just like a little signature. And I looked at the letter, but I was happy that it said the Bronx on it. But then I was kind of like, oh man, it's kind of like when you want to get approval for something and you write back and you're just like, no, you need to work on your stuff. So I just felt like, it's okay, so I let it go.
Oh, what I was a beginner too. What did I know? I think Legs probably maybe told me to write that.
Yeah, he did. He told you to write the letter. So,
Hmm.
but years later, I was happy though because I started. The more that I got rejected, to be honest with you, the more that I started picking up because I was like, I'm tired of being rejected. I'm tired of not, getting in. And I wrote a letter to Zulu in '94, and I didn't hear back from him for a year. And I said, what? I said, again? This is when Zulu
Oh,
Nation
wow.
was this is when Zulu Nation was in the Bronx Rivers. So I wrote him
Yeah.
back again, and I told him exactly how I felt. And the letter came back, and it was like, peace, I key, welcome to Zulu Nation.
Wow. That's awesome. Never give up. Never give up.
Never give up. So, honey, tell me about your story. Like, how did it all started? Because I remember I got the bootleg video, and Crazy Legs was like, "Yo, what's the name?" He's Honey Rockwell. I'm in Disneyland, and he was like, "So what you represent?" He's all repping Rocksteady Crew. And he was like, So I was watching the tape, but I was like, that was my early beginnings of knowing who you were as a beat girl.
Right. Right. Yeah,
So,
no, I mean, when I got down, well, it was a funny, I always say it, I think people by now already know my story. I've said it so many times, but I have to give, him credit. Louis New Wave is the one that really, you know, really, if I never met him, I wouldn't be where I am today.
right.
And I can pinpoint it to the exact person, the time, and when. And he was, what a beautiful person, beautiful friend. May he rest in peace. But he was one of the poppers. Do you know of Louis New Wave from New York?
No. Uh-uh.
Okay, he's an old school, this guy could dance, he was down with the huevo dancing and,
Oh, yeah.
going to the garage, but he was also a popper and down with like all of the guys, like rhythm technicians.
Mm,
And that was the group that formed Get Original Dance Company that later formed the Jam on the Groove show.
yes.
So it was members from the company he was a part of. So when we met we were on a set in a movie. I was like 18, 19 years old. And he
Mm,
was like, I got him. You have to they have to meet you because with what you can do with the gymnastics and, I was already like doing backspins because that was our generational dance. Like it
right.
wasn't the whip nae, it was a backspin,
Yes.
like if you could rock, if you could do, some waves and, they were like boogieing and stuff, and just doing some basic like floor moves. That was our dancing.
Mm,
That's it. So yeah, he introduced me to some of the guys, and it was it was the starting point of my entire
yes.
being.
Yes.
That's it, because everything I do now is what happened back then.
Right.
you know, and it's the result and the product. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be where I'm at, because if it wasn't for all of them putting me underneath their wing and showing me the business of hip hop at that time in the 90s, because
Yes.
when I started dancing, I want to say that, you know, Gem on the Groove really was like the first, you know, to put it in theaters,
Yeah.
and on an international level and touring the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, and I learned from them, and I can't, you know, they were beating it inside my head, you know, the crew, you know, Seven Jet, Rocksteady, Get Original, like those are all my teachers. And they were like, you know, you know, you don't do an interview and not, you know, it's stuff like that, you know, like just putting stuff in my ear of the business of protecting what we have. And I didn't care at the time. I was so young, and I just was like, I was in love with the dance. I was in love with the fact that I could make money off of something that I love to do. I was straight out of high school.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it was so cool because I was at the right place at the right time. And
Yeah.
I was able to get offered these opportunities where people were like still thinking, oh, you're doing that. That's old school. Like, you know, they kind of didn't respect it. And in the 90s, we had the rap, you know, the hip hop, the music wasn't everybody's favorite of respected music, respected the clubs that we were going to, the clothes that we were wearing. We were like the outcasts. And we were all, you know, if you were breaking, we were more like house dancing, and because people didn't really want to break anymore, they were just kind of like we were clubbing, like, oh my God, from Thursday to Monday, Tuesday, we were clubbing in New York, like nonstop. I had just graduated high school, and I was able to start going to all the clubs, and like, I lived at Red Zone. I lived at Emerald City with the birth of freestyle. We had the birth of don't get me started,
Get
Mikey.
started. Please
Don't get me.
I want the Honey Rockwell Untold VH1 presents Honey Rockwell Never Been Told story, because last time I seen you was probably
25 years ago.
Yes. And I wanted to tell you though, and the most craziest thing that happened to me, right? So I'm in Madeira, and I talked to Ramine. No, I talked to Crumbs. I said, Crumbs. I said, I'm gonna throw a jam in Madeira, and I said, you guys got to come through. Right after they had won Battle of the Year, so I said, I'm gonna send them a flyer. And I'm thinking in my mind, these guys are too, you know, like they're my friends though, like, cause I grew up with them, dancing to Modesto. But I was like, these came from Battle of the Year. They're like the best b-boy crew in the world. You know, and I'm sitting down and I'm throwing my jam, and somebody said, they touched me on the shoulder. I said, what's up? They said, there's somebody at the door. So I go to the door. I see Ariston. I see Tommy Boy. I see J-Rock. And then I see Honey Rockwell. And I said, oh, shit. I said, what are you doing in Madeira? Remember when you guys came to Madeira?
Yeah.
I do. I was tripping because
Yeah.
I'd only ever seen you on VHS. So when you came to the door, I remember we had to take a picture though too, like, I was just like, I was breaking, but I was looking over there like, yo, it's crazy. Honey Rockwell's over here. It's because Madeira's a very small little town, though. It's the population probably is like, maybe about like 6,000.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, small little country town in the middle of nowhere. I'm probably sure you remember that drive. Do you remember that drive going there?
Yeah. Oh, always driving out there, Cali, Vegas to Cali. Yes.
Yeah. But I'm just saying that drive to come to my contest. Do you actually remember that day when you guys drove, all you guys, Tommy Boy, Ramine, Crumbs, and you? Do you remember that night?
Yeah. That was many moons ago, Mikey. Oh my God.
I remember everything.
I'm trying. Yeah, I kind of do. Yeah.
I remember everything, honey. I remember when I was a little kid, like 12 years old. I looked on TV and it said, That's Incredible presents the Dynamic Rockers versus the Floor Masters. And I'm just like watching TV. That was my first introduction to breaking.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you're good. You're a walking archive for real.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I remember talking to you. I think I was living in the Bronx, in my grandma's apartment, and we called each other up. I was like, you told me you had all this footage of me, and I was like, yo, I think, yeah, you sent me a couple of copies,
Yeah, because you
and
wanted to
you
make a
hooked it up.
video. Yeah, you wanted to make a video. You saying I need some footage so I can start a video. I think you're gonna do another video because I think you came out with the Honey
Yeah,
Rockwell already.
yeah, and I tried to do a Honey Rockwell too, and all my footage for like 10 years of traveling. So you know those on the airplanes when you go to the security
Yeah.
and there's like a conveyor belt. So I would travel with my camera and all my 8mm tapes, even some VCR tapes, and put them through the belt every time because I thought I would have time when I would go on these tours and in the hotel rooms. Like, yes, I'm gonna focus and I'm gonna work on my video. Eh, never did. 10 years later, I go into production. Everything is demagnetized
Everything?
from going through the security conveyor belts because it demagnetized the 8mm. So I'm hoping for the future. I'm not going to get rid of them because I'm hoping they invent something to kind of remagnetize.
So you have everything on there, right?
Oh, everything, all my tours, because I did a second world tour with another company called Break the Urban Funk Spectacular.
Okay.
That's where I felt like I was better in my style. I was felt like I was in the swag, and now I'm better, and everything gone. So there's nothing of me from that. I got to call Flashback. Flashback is another. That's my boy. That's my brother.
Yeah.
And I got to call him and to see if I can get some more footage so I could, because I do have some stuff over the years. And even now, like with what I'm doing now with the school and stuff, then I have all these kids and like they're growing up now. So 6 years in the studio, I have kids that were like 8 that started with me, and now they're traveling. They were in Silverback battling. They're going to Puerto
Mm.
Rico, and like these are our little kids that are now. So like there's another story, so I need to get in the lab, and now is
Yeah.
like the perfect time to kind of like just focus. Hopefully none of that stuff is demagnetized.
Yeah,
But I
but
haven't been traveling as much, so I should
that's
be all right.
okay. So
Orko's putting out his stuff too. Orko's been working on his videos. So wait till you see all his archival footage.
oh yeah, I know Orca got some stuff though too.
Oh my gosh, yes, yes, yes.
I
It's
was gonna,
awesome.
I was gonna ask you. So, are you from the Bronx?
Yes, born and raised.
What? That's
Yeah.
crazy. So, when you were coming
Yep.
up in the Bronx, though, like, what was you seeing though? Like, from your point of view, I want to hear that story. Like, when you start seeing,
So yeah,
when you start seeing the B-boys, did you see like Rockwell or TBB or any of these crews?
right. So I was young. So 76, I was born 71, right?
Okay.
So 76, I'm like 5 years old.
Mm-hmm.
77. So my aunts and uncles, my grandma raised me, and I grew up with my aunts and uncles. And my aunt is 7 years older than me, Auntie Haiti, and she used to take me to all the socials in the Bronx. So so I was 7, 8, 9, she's 14, 15, 16.
Nice.
She was sporting the style of like, all the freshest. She always had the freshest shell toes. So I looked up to her with her style. And then we would go to I was a gymnast and 7 years old. So I went to the, like the Christ the King socials. And I used to see everybody getting down, in that time. And then, of course, movies like in the 80s, like Flashdance, Beat Street,
Yeah.
Breaking Crush Groove.
Yeah.
These were the movies. The music, come on, we had the best music. So, like, this is what I was growing up with. And, the guys down the street walking with the carriages, with the boom boxes inside the carriage, and the speakers like on other carriages, and them just blasting it, ghetto blasters. I remember that like so well. And then like I grew up in my teen years in Inwood Park, Manhattan. It's like the Upper West Side to the tip of the Manhattan.
Okay.
And we had this beautiful white wall. So when I moved there, every week there was they were having mural battles, in the park, and we would take pictures in front. I wish I had some of those pictures, but the murals, I remember seeing them, and like somebody else would come up and do a like tag over the whole thing and do different murals.
Mm.
And I went to Kennedy High School,
Okay.
and Kennedy High School in the Bronx was one of the schools where a lot of these old school B-boys came from.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it's so funny because I feel like I'm one of the descendants from Kennedy High School from the Bronx, like to keep carrying it on. And
Oh,
then
okay.
after me, Josh the Incredible, who's
Yeah.
the you know, he's one of the nephews of the Incredible Breakers with Chino, Brian, Sammy, and Float. May he rest in peace. He graduated from Kennedy, and I remember when he
Oh,
was a freshman at Kennedy, and I went up to him and I was like, "Let me teach you some moves at the gym." Because he started doing gymnastics there. And I was like, oh, let me teach you. And I was already down with like Rocksteady and like touring and stuff. So I
oh,
told
really?
Josh, hey, let me teach you. He was like 13, 14 years old.
Mm.
So yeah, we got history over there. But yeah, like that time frame, it was so much fun. Like my uncles, I think, were down with like Savage Skulls and
Oh,
like the Ball Bust. Well, not the Ball Bust, but I think like the Savage Skulls, my crazy uncles. And, you know, just it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
do you remember seeing Zulu back then? Did you see Zulus back then?
Yeah, so what I would see a lot that were the guardian angels.
Yes.
The guardian angels were everywhere on the
Okay.
trains, everywhere you went. I wasn't so familiar. I was a kid, you know, so I was like, I just wanted to be in dance school or gymnastics. That's it. And I wasn't really. When I moved in with my mom and stepdad, they were very strict. So I just was like, they were like, you focusing on your gymnastics and your dance, and you're not, that's it. And I would go hang out in the park and be with my
Mm.
friends. So like, I really wasn't in the city or seeing that anymore, other than what we had where we were living at.
Mm-hmm.
But still, yeah, still like all my friends from there were like, I heard like there was a crew in the Bronx called Born Crazy. They were a
Oh,
football crew from Kennedy, and we used to hang out with them, and those were our homies. They were, and then one of the guys on their squad said, "Yeah, do you know how to do? I see you in gymnastics." They used to come to my gymnastics, help support me in the gymnastics
yeah.
competitions. And they were like, yo, you need to meet this guy, Joey, because he knows how to spin on one hand and do multiple rotations. I'm like, that doesn't exist. Yeah, right. He was like, no, he really does. And sure enough, like he shows me, what he's doing. And this was like 86, 87.
Okay.
So I was in disbelief. And then another crazy story is while in school, one of my coaches was Beefy Cologne, who's
Oh.
Crazy Legs' brother. So it's
Oh.
funny how this all came around. Yeah.
That's a crazy story. I heard that name, Beefy Cologne.
Yeah, Beefy Cologne. Yeah. So he was one of my gymnastic coaches. And then when I got down with legs, I used to incorporate a lot of gymnastics. Like, stop doing that gymnastic stuff. Focus on your footwork. So I was like, all right, let me focus on footwork.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. You know what I want to ask you about? I read in a book about the ball busters. And the stories I used to read that the ball busters would go to parties or were breaking events and like they would go there and start shit. Like they would go there and literally
Yeah.
just like start fucking with people. From one of the stories I read, it said that they chased Rocksteady crew to the subway train and they got on the train and they got away from the ball busters.
Wow. Yeah, I don't recall that story, but Ballbusters were, being a kid and hearing the name the Ballbusters and how they got down, how you had to get down with that. I mean, it was pretty intense.
What,
Um,
what was they like? Were they just like the savage nomads and they were just like a gang?
yeah, like the Latin Kings and,
Oh,
those were the gangs in New York. Latin Kings, Ballbusters, that was like more like the 90s and then of what I heard in my school.
oh, okay.
Um, Yeah, I'm down with the ball busters, and I was like, oh, what's that?
The name
Yeah, I try
sounds
to,
crazy. Yeah, the name itself already sounds crazy. Ball busters, though, 'cause
oh my gosh. Yeah, we were like, what? Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it already sounds what they're gonna do to you. What's up, Troll? I see Troll from Street Masters on here. You see anybody in here you
Oh
want?
my God. Old school. What's up, troll? Oh my gosh.
I'm trying to get
Wow.
on here though. Yeah. So
Oh yeah, he said I forgot coach's name. Beefy. Yep. Beefy Cologne. Yep.
you know what I was told? Somebody had told me that you have gave Pee Wee from Street Masters his name, Short Shot or Short Shot.
Sure, I did.
Tell me
Damn,
about
your memory's dope. Yo, okay. Florida's, I'd like to say Miami B-Boys came to New York and shook New York. I think I like because at the end of they came through. Oh my God, yes, we were at Rocksteady Anniversary and there was a bus from Miami, DJ Raw.
Yeah.
Okay, DJ Raw landed in Rocksteady Park, parks his bus. Okay, and it's wrapped. He got DJ Raw on it all over the place. Open the door and a puff of smoke comes out of the Raw bus. It opens up like, oh, and out come these little kids, okay?
Yeah.
Nasty, with flavor, power, style. I was like, who are these kids? And they were so dope because they had everything. Like you had, when I was learning the scene and learning, about the world of who was still breaking and what I learned back then was that the Europeans were like the ones that were like, never stop with the power. And then West Coast, same thing, was more about the power than it was about the footwork and the top rocks.
Yeah.
And then New York was known for their top rock, their flavor, their footwork. When these Miami B-Boy guys came, I felt like they put the whole package in one. And Short Shock, Pee Wee was one of the ones that I saw, and I just for some reason wanted to name him Short Shock. I was like, yeah, you should be Short Shock. You're not a Pee Wee, you're a Short Shock. You'd be shocking people when you dance.
Oh.
He was dope. They were all dope. A Troll, of course, Quickie. Who else was there at the time? There was a few others.
Speedy Legs.
Speedy, of course, Speedy Legs. My gosh.
Yeah.
They showed me mad love when I went to Florida. I stayed out there for a minute, and Speedy Legs was so dope. And we had a few practices out there. Yeah, it was cool. Cool times. Fun memories.
I remember I had the footage.
And Beta.
In Beta. I remember I had the footage. They was on the bus and he was going, Honey Rockwell. He goes, Honey Rockwell. And he's like, she don't want to talk to me. He's all, Honey Rockwell. And then you look up and then you wave to him. Oh,
no way.
Yeah,
no
because
way.
he was on top of the bus filming the Rocksteady Anniversary. And you were at the bottom, so you were circled by everybody. You were talking to people so you didn't hear him. So when you looked up, you seen him.
No way. Oh, wow. That's funny. That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know what? When I would watch those anniversaries, that used to get me so excited on the West Coast. I was like, oh,
what a trip. Like Rocksteady Anniversary was such a, right before it was supposed to happen, like we would gear up towards that event. Like we were like, what are we going to wear? Like, what are our outfits? Like we would call up Adidas and get some Adidas. My homegirl, Patty Dukes, we were like, yo, we got the freshest gear that we would get jerseys made specifically for this jam. And then we would be like so nervous, and because we're so excited to be able to see everyone and have this reunion and see dancers from all parts of the world just come in and just throw down and just have it was an amazing, but no, and it wasn't really there wasn't competitions. It was just raw battling. It wasn't organized or anything like that. It was just yo, you throw down in the circle, get ready. These people are gonna come after you maybe, but it was dope. It was such a dope vibe. I haven't seen that. I haven't gotten that feeling like that in a long time. I can't remember the last time I felt a jam like that.
Yeah, because you had MC Light, you had Fat Five Freddy, you had Cool Herc, you had Cakes too, you had you had everybody cool. You had Kool Moe Dee, you had Melly Mel. Everybody was walking around in the park. Fat Joe's walking around though too. So it was I'm watching.
K7, I remember he just wrote, remember the anniversary poured rain on us. Yes, because K7 performed in the rain you know, and and we were just all breaking in the rain.
Yeah.
But it was fun. I don't even, oh, what a good time,
Yeah.
man. What a good time. This
So then,
generation it's so unfortunate. I don't feel like, unless one of us can do it, you know, and make it happen and recreate what was, you know, done back then, just to give them that feeling of what it
yeah.
was like to have the live performances and feature like some of the best dancers around the world on stage and the live circles. You know,
Mm,
that would be really, really awesome.
yeah.
Yep.
I think that would be awesome for them to walk around and see somebody actually doing a piece on the wall or a piece in their black book. And you know what I'm saying? You go into another room, you see people locking. So you go to the locker room and then you go out
Hmm.
to freestyle. Everybody's just like rhyming off each other. Like, you don't see those at events anymore.
No, no, I missed that.
Yeah, and then having all the superstar b-boys from all over the world, the best coming from Germany, the best coming from Japan, and everybody just like, you know, with the name chains though, the nameplate belts, you know, that the gorilla laces in your Pumas.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Pee Wee Dance was the one that he had the freshest. That was like, we used to travel to like the corners of the universe of, for fat laces and mock necks. And, we would go to Brooklyn. We would go to the Bronx. There were these places, these underground sneaker joints that we used to go to get our fat laces. Cause we
Oh,
didn't have Amazon. We didn't have no freaking, you know, oh, I'm gonna mail for it, you know. No, you had to dig.
yes.
We had to find who and dust them off from people that had them like stored in their storage closet from like 5 years ago, you know, prior. You know, getting the old school like 69ers, the old school Pro Kids.
Hmm.
We knew some spots. Burn was would always take me to get to go to some places and get some cool gear.
Are those places still there now? Like at least the store, do they still exist?
I don't know. I have to
Oh
ask.
yeah,
I'm not
because
sure.
you've been back there in a while.
I'm in Georgia now. I'm in ATL.
I know you've been out there for a while.
Yeah.
How many years now? Like 10?
But Georgia, 9 years, 9 years. But
Hmm.
Georgia reminds me of an old school New York.
Oh
Georgia
really?
got some places. Yeah, they got some little hidden gem spots too. So yeah, Georgia's pretty cool. I like Georgia. I like Georgia.
Mm. So yeah,
Yeah.
so when you came out to the West Coast, you know, so I see Mr. Wiggles, I see Legs Almighty, and I see you from the back. In the back of the jersey said Honey Rockwell, and I was like, oh shit, Rocksteady Cruise at the B-Boy Summit. So I was trying to go through the crowd. I was trying to like take pictures of you guys. Like I would take a picture because I don't want anybody to see it. So I would take a picture because they were strict on cameras. They said no video
Yeah.
cameras. They didn't want anything to be documented, so I would kind of stick my camera in real quick and I'll put it down.
No way. No way. No way. Oh my goodness. Yeah, they
Yeah,
were strict.
yeah. They said they got your camera, they would confiscate your camera or throw out the tape and like throw it away.
And
So
they really did it. They
they
really
really
did
did.
it.
Yeah, they really did though. So it was hard to film the summit, but I want to ask you, when you seen Style Elements, which was J Rock, Remind, Crumbs, and Poe, when you see him coming
Yeah.
at you guys like in Rocksteady, what came to your mind because you was in that battle?
Yeah, so not really. So I'm a free spirited. I like to, you know, float around the circles. I don't like to be. I hate being in the main circle.
Mm.
I don't know. I'm just not that type. I like to float and go to different like circles. So I was there at B-Boy Summit. I was in the indoor part because I just wanted to see and be a part of everything. So I went upstairs and I was rocking in the circles upstairs for a while in
Oh.
some building. So when I came downstairs, I'm like, they're like, yo, honey, get over here. You know, Flowmaster was telling me and Kenny, I was like, what's going on? And they started they were battling. It was, yeah, Remind and his crew going at it. And we were like, who? So for them, they remind me of the Street Master kids when they first came on. Then I'm like, oh, snap. Now we got, Style Elements. Like, look, who are these kids stepping up to these guys? You're
Mm.
stepping up to some like really heavy hitters. Like, who are you kids? So I
Oh yeah.
started, so they were throwing down. I think I went out a few times, but
Yeah, a few times.
it was such a big circle and so intimidating.
I didn't.
And I was just like,
scared.
it was scary. Oh no, it was scary. I was like, oh my God, there's like 1 million people watching. It was the biggest circle cipher I've ever seen in my entire life.
It was
My entire life.
huge.
It was huge. I think there's some pictures of like me and Wiggles. Like Wiggles was like, "Come on, honey, we're gonna go do a little routine, you know, from the one of the shows we did." I was like, "Okay." So I think there's a few pictures of us catching wreck. I think I did go down a few times, and yeah, I think that the battle continued, and I was just kind of more like just checking it all out.
Yeah. Then you guys went to an after party, and then you started breaking out the after party.
Yeah.
And Orko was there. A lot of people from Rocksteady, Easy Rock was there, and it was just a very interesting time.
I remember that party. I remember that after party, and I think that's the day. So we were thinking, the show was thinking of recruiting somebody else, and they kept talking about a guy named Orko. And I was like, so I didn't know. He was just this like phantom guy that they were talking about. And then they were like, yeah, and like being down, they were even like, yeah, we're talking about Rocksteady and, you know, trying to have him down. And I was like, who's this guy Orko they keep talking about? So we're there, we're getting busy. And then here comes Orko all in white.
Yeah.
You know, with his white tracksuit, Mr. Diva, you know, everything like white. And I'm like, who is that guy? And he goes and freaking does the most amazing head spins. And I was like, oh, okay. Now I know why you guys want him, you know. And he was incredible. And it's so funny because we didn't know each other at the time. And I was in that circle with them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then after that, he got down with the show. And then we formed the crew.
Yeah.
With 7 Gems.
Yeah. How did the 7 Gems form, though? Like, can you tell me what was the beginnings of 7 Gems?
So 7 Gems is the acronym for the 7 Grandmasters. And because we were always watching the karate flicks. And you know, kind of it was about, you know, we were all on tour together. I think Legs had gotten hurt, so he was no longer a part of the show. Or he just wasn't touring with us. And it was always like, Legs, I mean, not like, it was Kenny, Maurizio, Ariston, me, and we were like, I'm a flow master, and we were, we just always, we were training together, we were touring together, and there were other Rocksteady members that had divisions of Rocksteady, like, well, not a division of Rocksteady, but they had their own crews, like Easy Rock at the time had, I think they were like Eternal 2 Creations, and they had their West Coast division of Rocksteady. Then you had Gizmo had Bag of Tricks. He was down with Rocksteady. Then you had, you know, Crazy A from Japan.
Yeah.
He had his division of Rocksteady. So Kenny, we rolled with Kenny. So we were like, all right, 7 Grandmasters, you know, a division of Rocksteady. But yeah, there was like some kind of politics that could have been handled, I realized years later, a different way. Unfortunately, it wound up where, you know, a lot of us got kicked out of Rocksteady and we stayed. Then 7 Gems, we stopped because the tour stopped with Gem on the Groove. I wound up going with Wiggles to do the show in Las Vegas.
Oh, Vegas. I didn't know that.
I did the show at the New York hotel called Manhattan, and that's when I started hanging out with Wicked, Skeeter Rabbit, may he rest in peace, Papa Pete, Remind. So we were the squad, and that's how I started, like, you know, in the West Coast, and I started hanging out with the guys from Vegas, with Rock Skittles crew. With, you know, Floor Rock. Yep. So yeah, it's a little bit of my story. Then I came back to New York. And then the economy hit. It got bad 2008. Things started happening. And then Orko came into my life and was like, hey, you know, I want to show you in a life. Let's, let's get together and it'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like,
What?
really? You're a B-boy. I don't know if I want to be with you. And he was like, no, it could be fun. You'll see. You'll see. And I was like, so I gave him a chance.
Uh-huh.
And then we moved to Georgia, and then the age crept up on me and 3 kids. And, I was like, oh, snap. Like, this is it. I'm here in Georgia, and we got married, opened up a dance school, bought property, and here we are 9 years later.
That's And you say you're in contact with Baby Love?
Baby Love, oh my God, Baby Love lives. So me and Baby Love always been cool. And somebody had told me she had moved to Georgia. And then we had her look at the house that we were getting, because I didn't trust Craigslist at the time. So I was like, Baby Love, can you please check our house that we just rented on Craigslist? So she did, and then it so happened that she lived 15 minutes from where we were going to move to. And she is awesome. She has, her son, her husband, and they are beautiful. She comes and supports our jams when we have the kids' jams, and she's just such a beautiful. We talk, we'll have lunch, and we'll talk about, oh my God, the stories that me and her will talk about. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, she's got stories for days, because it's so interesting, because I feel like, being a B-girl with Rocksteady, like, it's hard to be a B-girl around with a male-dominated dance and deal with the male testosterone. And, I'm like, well, how did you do it? And it was hard for her too. These are our brothers at the end of the day. And, they helped me with my career. And with her, she's amongst the same age as them. Like, I'll let you and her talk, but there was a lot of similarities. Huh?
You think that she would do it if you told her?
Oh yeah. She'll do it.
Gosh. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, she's dope.
Whatever you can do, let me know, because just like I've heard her story, and I want her to share that. I want her to share it to a lot of the younger generations, because a lot of B girls today have never seen B Street.
Wow.
They're like, what's B Street? I'm like, you never seen B Street? So where can I find it? I'm like, oh man, like it's just like my mind I get lightheaded when he say that. Like, you never seen B Street?
But it's dope, because we get to fall in love with teaching someone and sharing the experiences all over again. So that's why I love teaching the kids here, because the ones that come in with no clue, they're 4 or 5 years old, 6 years old. I'm telling the parents, they're like, oh, great idea, honey. Yeah, I'll put Beat Street on, and it's just so awesome. And I get to do that with every kid that comes in. I get to feel that feeling all over again. And I love it. These kids here dance, the way we used to rock, because the style has changed. The evolution of this dance has, now they're, flying in the sky, and doing all kind of tricks. And when you see these kids dance to the music, to what we listen to, that's what we train them on. It's like the beginning. Hey, if after us you want to go off and continue your journey with this dance, with the new school and the evolution, go ahead. But I'm here to show you and share with you what my teachers taught me. So they're really learning a lot of these moves from the guys that taught the founders of this dance, or the second generation. Yeah.
That's so amazing that you're doing that, because the way that you put it, that you get to bring back a child and let them see it for the first time, and them get their experience, and just to see their smile, because a lot of people diss B Street. A lot of the older guys, B Street's whack, B Street's not real. But for me, it was like, when I seen Lee, when he was like, yo, one side gonna have curvy lines, other side gonna have this. When I do my backspin, it's gonna be the baddest. And in my mind, I'm just like looking at the screen like, what's he talking about? Curvy lines and the Puma outfit. So I would tell my dad, can we go to the Foot Locker and get that jacket? And back then a Puma outfit was at least $100 and something though. And I'm a 12-year-old kid asking for $70 shoes and $100 and something sweatsuit. My dad was like, we ain't doing it. I'm like, come on, Dad.
Skippies were our best friends back in the day. Skippies.
Yeah, Skippies. So yeah, the damn Skippies.
The
And what
bootleg versions.
yeah, what I would do, I would get a Sharpie, honey, Rockwell, and I'm gonna write Puma on
Yeah.
the side of my jacket.
Oh my God.
I
Oh my
did.
God. Yeah.
I was like, you
Yeah.
know what? That's how hip hop started, right?
Yeah.
People would
Yeah.
tear up their clothes, rip up their clothes, they'll put their little signature. So I said, I'm doing this.
So and how about our pants? So like Adidas pants didn't come nice and tailored, zippered at the
Oh,
bottom, right? Like I used to tuck in my the front of my pants into the shoelaces and tie
oh,
the shoelaces on top of the pants so they wouldn't look like bell bottoms. I hated bell bottoms.
that, yeah, that was the thing though. When you got the windbreakers after breaking that dive, they all had the flared out bell bottoms, and I didn't like that. So we would get the pants and we put the rubber band at the end.
Yeah, yeah, the rubber bands. Yeah, cut off my circulation.
Yeah,
Yes.
we would do like the
I,
rubber bands, and it was just such an
yeah,
amazing time though because I felt like when you guys, as Rocksteady as a whole, when you guys start doing like all those tours and doing the what was it, the Seven Gyms videos, like I was proud of
yeah.
those videos though because you was like, yo, you know, right now I'm in Tel Aviv, Israel, and I'm looking at the background, I'm thinking like, this girl is so lucky. I'm sitting at
No,
home.
I'm very. I feel it now. I feel it now. I feel so blessed and fortunate, especially now with the way things are. Like we can't even take a, you can't even drive to Florida to, go to the beach because it's everything that's happening health wise. So it was, I can't believe I was able to do that. I don't even know if my kids will be able to do that. We were Israel, Germany, France, Hong Kong, Singapore, uh, and just sharing with cultures and what an amazing time. And then going to the clubs. We
Mm,
would go to the clubs at these places and throw down at the clubs, like, and we don't even speak the language or nothing, and we're like bugging out in the like listening to like their techno music. But it was so much fun and just meeting different, and then people that like, they're like, I remember one show, I think it was in Israel. And there's a part of the routine where we have our heads down. It's the opening of our show. Our heads are down, the
mm,
curtains are open. You have me, Wiggles, Flowmaster, Kenny, Fable, Desala, Orko, all of us there. We have our heads down, and you hear people in the audience. This is the opening act, and you just see us, and you hear people screaming, "Ken Swift, Mr. Wiggles," like people, and you're like, "Oh snap!" Like the feeling of that of oh my gosh, it was so incredible. Theater, live performance in front of these people that are like mind blown, like this is back. And these people
mm.
in Israel, like they loved it. They were so 94, 95. These people are still old school hip hop heads,
Oh,
that did it back then. Some of them invited us to their house and had pictures of Fable with the grandparents back in the day, like in the 70s when they toured with, like, back then with who was
oh yeah,
Magnificent Force and all of them.
yeah.
So they were putting me on. I'm just like this little girl in freaking Candyland, like, where am I? What is this? Oh my God, they knew you from back then. This is amazing. And then just kind of like doing it, them seeing a girl, it was me, Masami, I think
Mm.
at the time, and Risa. Risa was a part of it, and a couple of the other girls. And it was awesome to be representing the females also at that time. And I loved it. I loved the dance. I loved the culture. It's such a joy. So blessed.
That must have been so dope because I remember when Arisen came back, he had like 22 pairs of brand new shoes. The whole
Oh, he was collecting shoes. I was like, oh my God, how many more pairs of shoes are you gonna buy? Yeah,
his,
everywhere.
his closet was filled with Calvin Klein. He had all the tank tops. He had all the Caicos.
Yes.
And he would just go into his pocket and he would just pull out like $900 in cash. And I'm thinking, you used to be broke.
Yeah.
We still break him a down.
No, we were making money. You were making money doing what we loved. Yeah. It was awesome.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, you had the best clothes. You're seeing every country around the world, and you're making that type of money. And I know, like, what was that like, that experience, knowing that you're getting an income that you was just like, for that?
Well, it was, well, then we would come back home and see reality, right?
Yeah.
The airplane touches down. We're like, oh my God, oh, we had the red carpets rolled out. People were feeding us. We got money. We got clothes. We touched down in the airports. I was like, well, I don't even have a ride to get back home. You know, I'm stuck. Everybody leaves, and I'm like stuck at the airport like, damn. Now, you know, reality hits. Like, I got to pay bills. I have a kid. You know, I got to, you know, this is reality. This is real life. And we, at the time, because we were all doing it, I mean, what's important is I wish we could have, you know, all of us were in it, and we were already older. So, like, I was 24, 25. We weren't kids. The guys are older than me. They're like 5, 7 years older than me. So they were already in their 30s when we started these tours. So it was like, you know, we were already like make it happen mode. Yeah, we need this money. This is our business. This is what we need to do to survive now. And I wish there would have been a little bit more of a educational, like, as far as like, well, what can we do from this? Like, when the tour stopped, then what? Could we get jobs in theatrical, now that we know about lighting, now that we know about, you know, could we work on Broadway with other, or why don't we make a school for Jam on the Groove School, Get Original Dance Company school to put on for the next generations to keep it going, because then it just stopped. Once it stopped, it was every man for themselves, and we all had to like figure it out. Like, okay, well, I'm going to use my experience from doing that show, and people called me to do another show as a dancer. So I continued to work as a dancer from 94 to 2010 as a performing artist, making money, touring, doing shows, doing classes, workshops. Never stopping to think about the business side, and it was just kind of like my hustle, you know. I didn't know where that hustle was going to lead me to, and I didn't even know this is what I still wanted to do for the rest of my life. It wasn't until like a couple of years ago where even opening up the dance school, like, yeah, I want a dance school, just so, you know, I want to train the kids, but at least we'll have a place to practice, Orko. He was like, yeah, cool. But I didn't know opening up, people were really going to like it. I didn't know about, oh, you need a 5-year business plan. And yes, I'm a business person, and I know how to do administration, and I know how to do graphic design, and I know how to do make phone calls. And I had to learn all of that. I was like, oh, snap. What did I get myself into? Like, these people like it. We're growing. I need a system. Do I go back to school? What do I do? Yeah. So I was calling everybody, you know, all the gurus up, and I was trying to follow different systems and get advice from different people that were, you know, I'm so grateful to this day. Fast Feet Fontanez, he owned a martial arts studio and owned several martial arts studios in New York. He actually gave me a lot of great advice about how to open one. He was the studio where Jam on the Groove would practice. That's where that we used his facility for our practice spots. And yeah, and then it's been really hard. It's been blood, sweat, and tears. You know, my advice to like the new up and coming B-boy like that, I just love to dance. Well, think about it. Yeah, right. At 20 years old, you're only thinking about the dance. You're only loving the windmill. You know, the air flare. You know, you're only thinking about that. But think about, all right, are you comfortable enough just doing windmills where, like, if you got hurt, can you feed yourself? You know, do you have income coming in? And that was important for me to share with the world and the community. And building this dance studio, I hope that it can continue when I'm gone. You know, I trained kids, and there was a big generational gap here in Georgia between the ages. Like, when I came in, they were Zapper, HBO kids, you know, they were all kids at the time when we first got, Georgia has been so dope. The dance scene out here with embracing us and what we did when we came here, me and Orko, But they were very young, and they took us and embraced us and wanted to learn from us. We opened up the school. They had places to practice. That's another thing, because we never had a dance studio with nice wooden floor and mirrors to practice.
I know.
You know, where we had to pay for it in New York, in Manhattan. We had to pay. Me and my homegirls, True Essentia, Miss Twist. You know, we all had to chip in our money, and you know, the studio, if it was like $50 an hour, we were all chipping in money to rent the studio and rent the boombox hourly. Yes, sorry.
I have a question. No, go ahead. I just want to add to that. Was that a practice when I seen you, Quick Step, Storm, and Swift Rock, and Rockefeller, and you guys on some wood floor, and it was like really nice. It was like in a nice studio.
Yeah, that was probably one of them. One of them was Dick Shay's. Also, we were there for a long time too. So it was a Fontanez. We practiced at several spots, but they all cost money. So my thing was of how I felt like I could give back to because you know, it was always weird. Also, like, who am I to open up a dance school when my teachers are out there? Like, what, you know, how do I do this? How do I feel righteous with inside myself and give back to the community? What was given to me, I didn't have to pay to learn. You know, to learn their, you know, the breaking styles anyway. They embraced me. So I feel like offering this space for free to any dancer 24 hours a day, because a lot of dancers are up at 3 o'clock in the morning. You know, hey, if you need a spot to come and train and you want to practice, we got a spot for you. And kids, you know, and then the kids too. And then, you know, we started training a lot of the little kids and didn't have, I never focused on the teenagers and the adults. We're adults now, so there's a big gap. So my teacher, so now I'm trying to train. I was like, oh no, I got all these kids, but they're still not old enough to teach. What am I gonna do? Like, how am I gonna keep this going? Because it's getting harder. I'm getting older. It is getting harder for me to continue. Like, how many more 6 steps am I gonna teach? I've taught thousands of 6 steps. You know, how many more 6 steps? How many more top rocks? Like, if I'm focusing on the business of this dance, with creating curriculums and finding things to a dangling carrot. Like, why do these kids? Why in the suburbs where I live? Why would these parents want their kids to join our dance studio? What's in it for them? They're used to soccer, football, baseball, cheerleading. You know, what can I offer these kids that they're going to want to stay? So I created the Rock the Floor Kids Dance Battles, right? Alongside the dance studio. So now we have an big annual event for kids. And we do these little series of battles just to keep them excited and motivated. Because there wasn't a lot of people, when I opened up 6 years ago, there wasn't a lot of people that had a dance school, a breaking academy where I could call and be like, hey, how do you do this? Well, what software should I use for that? There wasn't too many people. In Washington, D.C., Task, he has the lab, and he's doing some great, amazing things. He's already developed the USA Breaking, like with getting kids into the Olympics and developing a committee, and it's amazing. And they're going to be the ones that take this even further than what we've done, Mikey. You know, yeah, they're gonna go in there. They're gonna go with the collegiate sports and making this even like, and it's great. Kids need something to do. Oh, there you go. A little circle's going around. Okay, no, there you go. Good. There you go. You're good. Yeah.
So that's amazing, though, honey. So like, I want to ask you, with the COVID-19 situation, how much has that affected your business?
Tremendously. Tremendously. Like, I feel like we're back at square one. You know, building our reputation. People wanted to know who we were. We came here with no one knowing who we were, and it took this long to develop. I mean, we ended with 100 kids in March, at over 100, and then it went down to 50 in April. In May, we're at 30. We're at 30 something. I'm all online. Some kids, the state of Georgia is allowed to open up again, so. Now we have, like, we're doing social distancing. I could do like 5 in this room and do like 5 in another room with comfortable 6 feet apart. But it's different. Like, it's hard to like plan the future. You have to adapt, you know, to what's happening. But I also want to process. I need time to process what happened. People died with this coronavirus sickness, and that's pretty deep, you know, like, oh my God, you could die by just walking outside and breathing the air. That's pretty deep. And I don't want to put anybody in jeopardy just because I have to do my business and survive. I'll pick something else because I don't want to jeopardize people's lives.
Yeah.
So, you know, it works on Zoom. We're doing the Zoom classes. I'm going to open up slowly, with little by little. Is it going to be I'm hoping and praying that I get the SBA loan, the disaster loan to help out.
Okay,
I applied for that.
You applied for that?
Yeah, I'm still waiting. Orko's been helping me. You know, he's working consistently. So that's another thing. This business is from my heart. But Orko, he's a Marine. You know, he got his Marine. He works a 9 to 9 job. You know, he does gas, installs gas, natural gas. So thank you, Lord, for Orko, because he really has been taking care of the family and the mortgage, you know, everything in the house, the bills. And so this studio feeds our passion. You know, it's not really for the money, although I would like it to finally, you know, profit and make some money. But it's dope. We're blessed to continue to do something that we love. And I don't think I ever want to get rid of it. I just have to be smarter in my business and how to adapt to these new times. Yeah. In order to continue to keep the business, because then I won't have a choice but to shut down if I don't think of a master plan soon.
Oh, how soon is that possibly that you're thinking?
Well, there's a lot. There's a lot of people saying they want to come back, but staying and doing are going to be two different things. So, you know, it's what can we offer? People want to make sure that their kids are feeling safe, and what can we do? What can we do to like spark the interest in this new adaptation of online school, or what can we do here to make it exciting again? Because it's not like we can call, hey, Mikey, let's throw this jam. I'm going to get 25. We were supposed to have a jam, right? But we were on the up and up. Like this season was the first season that I feel like I'm finally, I'm like business minded. The kids are booking gigs. Like they're getting paid to go to like Atlanta and film a video or to do some, to get gigs. We were in 5 different after school programs. Oh man. People wanted us. So I was teaching teachers now to go into these other schools, and everyone, I feel so good when I'm able to like put money in people's pockets. Oh, nice. And everybody help each other. And we were supposed to go to Miami with Miami B-Boy Academy, and we were going to do our Rock the Floor and Rock the Box out there. And everything like this got shut down. Oh. It just got shut down. Very, very tough. I caught a twitch in my eye, you know, because I was like, I got to do this. I got to do this. I was up all night. Orko was like, what's wrong with you? Get to bed. What is wrong with you? And I was just like so worried. And my daughter's graduating high school. She's class of 2020. So I wanted to be there for her emotionally. You know, she got herself into college. She's now in, you know, the university out here. She's going to be starting in August. But on next week, Friday, they're doing a drive-through graduation ceremony where they're going to give out the diplomas through a drive-through.
Yeah, I've seen that.
That's interesting. Yes, that should be interesting.
Somebody crying. The dude was crying in his car. And he was waving at everybody. He was crying, and he went to the sunroof. And I was like, I've never seen that before.
I know. I better get the Kleenex ready because I'm gonna be a wreck. She's my last kid, because my oldest daughter, she's 27. My son, he's 22. Adahi, he's 22 years old, and Anaya's 18. So like, that's it. Me and Orko, we ready, Mikey? We're ready to go on tour. What's up?
Let's go. So
let's go. That's the perks of having kids young.
Yeah.